Okay. Welcome, guys, to the Dollars for Lunch session on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Guys, this for me is ideal trading conditions. It's a little bit overcast, coolish. Man, I'm having an absolute time right here in my office, right in the studio. Listen, welcome if you're joining us for the very first time. If you are a DVDM master student or DVDM markets client or student, then a massive shout out and a big welcome to every single one of you. Now, we don't have a ton of time today because things are going to move quite quickly. Markets are going to give us a bit of data. So let me jump in exactly to what we're going to be doing. And we hopefully going to get some live trading done with you guys all this afternoon, right here, right now. So let's, without further ado, without wasting any time, let's just jump straight in and show you what all we're going to be looking at in the next couple minutes. So straight into the fundamentals. We have data coming out in the next 14 or so minutes, and this is going to be the goods orders data releases, right? So we're focusing on durable goods trade balance as well as core durable goods orders for the month of September. All these data releases. There are a few others that are going to be less impactful, but the markets are expecting we should get a bit of growth here, which will be positive for the dollar. Now, there's a lot the market's busy speaking about today. There's a ton of information in the market. Everyone's obviously speaking about Bitcoin. Everybody's speaking about Trump's ETFs that he's basically set up, and this new entity that has essentially bought out his social media entity, as well as all the data releases that we obviously got last night, as well as the ones we're still going to get today. So a lot of the data releases in terms of the earnings reports for the S&P 500 and Nasdaq companies are doing better than expected. Majority of the releases that have come out for this quarter, 83% of them have performed better than expected. So we could definitely see a continuation rally on the US 100 as well as S&P 500. A lot of discussion is talking about labor shortages, where some companies are saying they're full on employed, and there's obviously other companies that really are struggling to get staff in the US right now. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the markets. We're getting a nice pullback. This is the dollar index. This is currently on a 15-minute time frame, just to give you all a little bit more perspective. We have obviously in the last coming days spoken about the suffering that the dollar's been doing. The dollar's really been struggling over the last trading week or so, and now we've started to break out this week, right? The breakout ended up happening on the 25th on Monday. We started to get this breakout. Now we're starting to get an idea of a new structure that could be forming here on the United States dollar. Now, why I'm fairly excited about this is for a couple reasons, right? The first reason being, if this pullback comes here and the dollar's lost a little bit of momentum to other major currencies such as euro, pound, and yen, and then we get a strong dollar release, this is going to cause a pretty big whipsaw in the market. Now, we are going to focus on gold for this particular release, and as you can see, we spoke about on Monday, mapping out on a 15-minute time frame this move over here, and I said to everybody, listen, if we break this on a 15-minute, start to sell gold. Now, if you were one of those students, or you're one of my DVDM masters, or any other of my clients around the world, obviously you would have made a ton of money towards the downside. Gold fell around about 250 pips, nothing massive, but still a nice move nevertheless. Now, where we are at the moment, if we go back to a 30-minute time frame, even an hour will do. We obviously have a long-term support structure here below. It looks a little something like that. And this has pretty much been the basis of what gold has been relying on for this rally that has started pretty much on the 18th of this month. So for the last 7 or so trading days, gold has been relying on this major key support to obviously rally on. Now, I suspect in the next couple minutes, we're going to get a spike up to the underside of this, what is now resistance and once was support. If we get a strong dollar, this level over here, 1798, so $1,798 to an ounce of gold, I think is going to be our ideal selling point should we get strong US data. Obviously, should we get bad US data, we might end up breaking this resistance, utilizing it as support, and then we obviously have to overcome a few other diagonals. But in essence, a breakthrough of this resistance level is essentially our buy trigger to obviously get long on the price of gold. So let's see what's busy happening. The market spiked up a few minutes ago, specifically on the price of gold, about, I'd say 15 minutes ago or so, and now we're waiting for this data release that's going to be due in the next 10 minutes. Outside of that, I've given out to my master students an order to buy VIX on Monday. I spoke about this little diagonal we were having here. And essentially, this is an opportunity to scalp the price of VIX. This is VIX 75 on a 1 hour time frame. We've been in a massive bull run, and we started to see early this week, for the first time, we started to move outside of this bull run, giving us an opportunity to obviously look for short positions, as it's heavily overbought in terms of VIX 75 as a synthetic asset class. Now, for those of you that caught a sell, you obviously would have caught a monster. What I'm foreseeing now, and what I'm potentially looking at, is obviously we want to, now that we've identified the structure on VIX, we obviously want to buy and sell throughout this market structure. Obviously, a sell is within trend. A sell is where the markets are essentially pointing us to, but there are buys and sells every side of this market. Now, just to give you an idea of VIX in terms of its high pip count, we are looking at plus minus to the top of this range. So from where we are now to the top of this range, we're looking in the region of about, let's see here, $20. So we're looking at about 200 pip move from here to the top of this range, and this could take place in a couple of hours, right? So nice quick moves, very impulsive moves. The other thing I also want to point out in VIX 75, which gave me confidence to start looking for that trigger, is we have a very, very strong impulse towards the downside, and we started to really stall out at this level, which also obviously happens to be part of our original channel that we originally broke out of and have now come back into structure. So looking for that buy opportunity. We are still making higher highs, we are making lower lows, and so there is an opportunity from a buy perspective for this channel to break out. Alternatively, we're going to look for our profit at the top side of this channel. So to draw it out, I would say start on an hour, start on the 12th of this month, draw out that market structure, and then just look for a little bit of that sideways movement or sideways momentum. Now looking at Nasdaq, Obviously on Monday I also spoke about the fact that we're getting those data releases. We got data releases and it broke out, and obviously if whoever took that breakout in terms of that buy, you should have made quite a few pips. You should have banked quite a bit there. Obviously with all the different data releases that we are getting, the markets will stall and wait for the newer releases to come out, because there's nothing worse in a market where we get massive spikes in the market and then we get a bad data release. That will cause a whipsaw and a very big instability within a particular market. So markets tend to thin out and wait for that big news release or that big data release, as we're kind of seeing now with obviously the data we're expecting on the dollar. Now in terms of USD ZAR, guys, I want to give you guys an absolute treat. I want to give you guys an absolute secret, right? So whether you're a student of mine or not, I want to give you something that's going to absolutely blow your minds away. First, I need to see everybody's comments in here. I need to know who's from where and how. We have a few minutes until the US data release, but I'm about to give you an absolute nugget of gold, absolutely free, that will completely change your trading career. Now, if I can get some comments in here and I can see the activity, I'll share it live here. But if I don't get the activity, I'll wait till I have my session with my masters tomorrow to go more in detail with what it is I'm about to say and what it is I'm about to show you. So let's see, we're getting a couple comments in here. I am from, and waiting for these things to pile in, India. Welcome all the way from India. So wherever in the world you're from, drop a comment, let me know where you're from, and we will discuss and we will chat together about this. But I'm about to give you an absolute nugget of gold right here. So let's see, Joseph, welcome. Cape Town, welcome. If you guys are ready for this, I'm going to drop the bomb. Okay. So if you guys are ready for this, I'm going to explain. Have a look here behind me in terms of the screen. This is one of my scalping methods that I speak to and teach my master students. So as you can see, a nice healthy lot size at half a lot here, moving nicely up in profit, and this should yield quite a bit of profit as it continues to move higher and higher. So nice big buy here and things are moving up, but that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you and give you guys all a little bit of an advantage of is I want you to go ahead and look at the 9 o'clock candle every day on ZAR. Right, so I sent through a screenshot to my masters group today where I took a massive buy that rallied all the way. But I want to give you guys a secret, right? So the 10 o'clock candle specifically on trade 245 MT5, the 10 o'clock candle, which represents 9 a.m. in the mornings on USD ZAR, go and have a look what happens every morning at 9 a.m. So I'm just going to scroll across. This is a minute time frame. Have a look here, 9 a.m. massive rally, 9 a.m. massive fall. That's all I'm going to give you guys for now in a free and open environment. Masters, I'm going to be unpacking this in massive detail for every single one of you tomorrow, as well as how I just made this specific trade that is running right here, right? This is a half lot position caught. If you have a look at my trading history, I've been absolutely smashing USD ZAR all over the place this whole day, this whole morning. All I've been focusing on is USD ZAR, and as you can see here behind me, there's all my trade levels, all my trades open and closed and taken on USD ZAR. And I'm going to be teaching this in massive detail tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 with every single one of my master students. So as an example, this trade will make quite a few $1,000, if not a couple $1,000, just on a small scalp. This is a 1 minute time frame, and we're talking about massive money. But anyway, before I get too into it, let's obviously focus here on the price of gold. Let me see if I want to take my profit on ZAR. Let's see. Let me take my profit and then I can focus with every single one of you. So I've closed out my ZAR buy there. Okay. So let's have a look. We're starting to get that pullback already on the price of gold. Let's have a look at what we're getting in terms of the data from the US markets. We should be getting this in the next 3 minutes, and then we'll be able to position ourselves accordingly to obviously take advantage of what the market's getting. Now, obviously with the labor shortages, with the goods shortages, obviously I think the world is looking at a potential negative here. and that is kind of the pessimistic outlook here. But obviously if the dollar comes in shining, and we are obviously sitting at a key level from the index's perspective right here down below, it's a beautiful push down, a great opportunity to obviously take advantage of some gold strength, dollar strength. Let's have a look. If we get an underwhelming result, obviously that'll be devastating to the price of the dollar. The dollar can't really afford for any negatives right now, so let's have a look. So we're about 2 minutes in, and I'll quickly read the comments as we go through. So we've got Lesotho, Namibia, Zimbabwe in the house, Cape Town, Northern Cape, let's see here, India is obviously in the house. Let's have a look what else here. Let's have a look here. Okay, so we're people all over the world. Beautiful. Okay, so 2 minutes out from that data release. Let's have a look what ends up happening here, as well as on the gold charts. Okay, beautiful. So we're about a minute out. Do one last refresh as we wait for that data. So again, we're going to keep our focus on the goods trade balance, core durables, as well as good order non-defense. We'll consider that. Okay, so data is mostly positive. So at this point, we could then look for an opportunity to short the price of gold. So we can jump in here, and essentially all we need to do here is just place our stop loss above the previous high. At this point, we're looking at about 31 pips or so, but ideally what we'd want to see here is we would like to see gold then break this diagonal structure and then continue its move down. So the markets generally take a little while to obviously absorb this type of data. A stronger dollar means gold will fall, but obviously it's all about entry, it's all about timing. So by the time you guys see this, and by the time you hear my voice, it should have moved up slightly in terms of the price of gold, and it's up to you where you want to position yourself. If you want to look for an investment position, you may want to look at covering yourself in terms of this massive diagonal. So by the time you're hearing this, gold is actually pushed up, which is great, and it is actually at the ideal high of that entry in terms of a sell. So there is where I would then obviously add some of my orders. And again, I'm going to go for a little bigger of a stop loss. We're looking at about 45 pips or so. And as markets then pull down and obviously digest the data that we just got, we will then see the full move there. Durable goods orders came in also better than expected. Core durables hit expectation. Non-defense beat expectation. Excluding defense, -0.2, -2, but we didn't have any sort of forecast there, so it's a bit hard to estimate. And goods trade balance is -$96 billion. Trade balances are generally good. The fact that they have a deficit, because obviously it just means that there's more trade busy happening in the world. So we're going to obviously wait for this. Obviously gold is busy stalling out, it's doing what it needs to do, and ultimately we should then get that pullback as markets then absorb this data, and gold obviously gets weaker and weaker, or the price of gold at least gets weaker in relation to the dollar. So we're going to continue to hold that. Again, I'm putting stop losses up here. We've seen in previous days where we get good data, we tend to get markets being super volatile. And so instead of having a super tight stop loss here, we're rather going to look at it from an investment position and position ourselves above, secure structure, and then allow gold to do whatever it needs to do. Obviously, this breakout in the gold price was a assumption that there would be a weaker dollar across the board. Let's see, dollar index is giving us that final low, so there we can obviously map out its absolute low, and then we can adjust to give it some structure in terms of what we could expect. So over the course of the US market open, we should now see the dollar index pull back up, and we'll start to see some better performance from some of the other items, including things like GBP/USD, so on and so forth. GBP/USD has made a little bit of a push for a high, but again, I think as well with the stronger dollar, we should then see that pullback. I don't think there's going to be an opportunity to short GBP/USD at a known market structure. I think where she is now, she'll tend to potentially start to then pull back, and we'll see a little bit of volatility. And it generally takes the market about 5 to 15 minutes to actually fully absorb what has actually happened, right? And that's the beauty of obviously being able to read the numbers, look at the estimates, and obviously anticipate what is happening in the world at any given point in time. So yeah, let's allow this to do what it's got to do. Let's allow her to run and essentially do what she's going to do. And this should essentially, over the course of the day, specifically up into the evening, the price of gold should fall substantially. So we should be able to target the bottom end of this market, which is reading at plus minus 1.1784 flat is where we should target from a TP perspective. And on that TP, we would then be targeting about 110 pips, somewhere around about there in terms of that bottom side. Again, we will obviously utilize structure to protect ourselves, but this should signal, the start of gold to at least start getting to the downside of this market structure that we're currently in and that has been formed on the price of gold. So again, a failure at this higher level should mean we would even break that. So I would do this. I would have one TP at the market bottom, and then my second TP would be somewhere along this structural level. That second TP can be for about 268 pips, somewhere in that region, all the way down there. So that would be an investment position that can be held over multiple trading days, and you don't have to be watching and worrying every 2 seconds what's busy happening. Your risk is confirmed at 40 odd pips, and your reward would be a combination of your first TP as well as, let's just do that. So the first TP is sitting at 120 pips. Second TP is then sitting at, let's see here, 240. So we're risking combined 90 pips to make about 380, 390. So we have a 1-to-4 risk reward ratio, which you can do every single day, lose half your trades, win half your trades, and still be net positive by a very, very big margin, right? So that's very, very important. Let's just see GBP/USD if that is having the full effect. Where is our GBP/USD? Okay, so GBP/USD is stalling out here. Not really too much yet, but we should start to see the pullback. I wouldn't necessarily trade GBP/USD. There's not enough pips here for me to justify. All the way down to the market structure is only about 30 odd pips, so nothing I really want to trade there. And my USDZAR scalp is continuing to run and rally. So again, masters, and pretty much everyone that's watching, go pay attention or go look at the 10 o'clock candle USDZAR every single day. Do yourself a little bit of math and go back the last 2 months, look at that 10 o'clock candle, and you're going to see something amazing. That's a gift from me to you to take advantage of. For masters, I'm going to be giving you a whole roadmap of every turning point for every session on USDZAR, as well as tips and tricks in terms of when it's ranging, what to expect, when it's rallying, where it's in a bull market or bear market, what you could expect, and where are those turning points exactly, and where do they happen specifically. I don't want to give too much away. It's mostly for my master's students, so we're going to be going through this in finite detail tomorrow afternoon at 2:15. Sorry, that is our strategy session for masters. We'll be trading live, but we'll be going through the markets, and I'll be taking you through this particular scalping strategy that I've obviously fallen in love with, and I've been putting in hundreds of trades a day specifically on the strategy. and it's fueled my love for the markets once again. So I'm in a pretty good place regardless. All right, guys, so listen, have any of you taken gold? Answer in the comments. Did you take gold? Are you already in profit? You should already be in profit depending where you've taken it, and that's a massive welcome. It's here, it's live, you've seen how it's being done, and this is how we teach and this is how we trade. It's transparent, it's understandable, and it's an opportunity to ask questions and obviously understand what is busy happening in the market. Now, obviously, if you want to be part of the signals group, you want to be part of Masters, simply let us know, inbox on the main DVDM markets group. If you don't have that group, the link is in this particular video description. Jump into the Telegram group, ask for help. Leonie or one of the team will get back to you, and you guys will be in a position to have some fun with us. The whole academy, everything I've done here today, the whole academy is for free. It's available on YouTube under the Quantum Growth playlist. So select playlist, go to Quantum Growth, and it's 8 videos, 8 hours of me teaching you just like this, one-on-one with the full syllabus, where you understand word for word what is busy happening within the markets. You'll be better than most of these Instagram gurus after that 8 hours, and I can guarantee it. And that's why it's free. We want to change the perception, we want to change the stigmatism around Forex and financial markets. And please, guys, don't give anybody your money to invest. We see this time and time again. If you want to learn, you want mentorship, that is what I'm here for. Please stop asking if I can trade on your behalf, if I can invest. Clearly, I don't need anybody's money. I'm pretty happy where I am. I'm pretty good at doing what I do. Offering me 1,000 Rand or 10,000 or R1,000,000 is a no-go. It'll never happen, right? You need an FSCA license, you need to be a regulated entity to do that. And obviously, as you guys have seen recently in the news, there's a lot of people getting in trouble for things that they've done 2-3 years ago in the same manner and fashion. Learn the skill for yourself and nobody can take advantage of you. And that is why the whole Quantum Growth Markets program was built, so nobody can take advantage of you within the Forex and financial markets. So if you're making profit on gold, which you all should be, then that's a massive well done. You've at least, even at the smallest lot size, you should have been paying your fuel bill or buying airtime or data or whatever to have a little bit of fun in the market. So outside of that, guys, let's just have a quick view and look at what is coming up for the balance of the day. Obviously, we have interest rate decisions for the Canadian dollar that is coming up at 4 o'clock. I don't see anything changing, as well as the markets don't foresee anything changing. We see the base interest rate remaining at that 0.25%. And then based on the balance of the evening, we've obviously got some oil and gas data that can have an effect on gold, but I don't feel enough of an effect for us to worry about our current position in this particular market. Looking into tomorrow, for those of you who are going to be early morning trading, we will have our pips for breakfast early in the morning at 8:15 tomorrow. Let's quickly have a look here. Okay, so we obviously have the yen, Bank of Japan interest rate decisions. That'll be interesting to have a look at. Let's have a look here. Okay, so German unemployment change might be worthwhile watching if you're trading the euro, which I don't trade all too much these days. Maybe some of you want to keep an eye on. ZAR PPI, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on for the 11:30 tomorrow morning. So if you're in ZAR and you're scalping ZAR, you're trading ZAR, let's have a look. We don't always get these data releases on the day that they say, so it may be a little bit of a anticlimax there. European Central Bank interest rate decisions for 1:45 may be worthwhile watching. And then tomorrow is going to be one of the big ones, right? So we're going to be looking at the GDP quarter on quarter for Q3 for the United States dollar, quarter on quarter GDP price index, as well as the initial jobless claims, right? Will show us some data in terms of what's busy happening in the world from an employment perspective on the United States dollar. So tomorrow afternoon, master students, we're going to be trading this one live. I expect some very big moves. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the live trading. Once our trades have moved into profit and we're making money, I will then revert into the strategy session, and we'll be going over the strategy in quite a lot of details. Roy James asking, what is VIX exactly? There are different types of VIXs. The VIX, specifically we trade VIX 75, is a synthetic instrument, and it's managed via algorithms to build out patterns, to build out market moves. So there's no correlation correlation between the S&P 500. There's a VIX volatility index, which is a inverted S&P 500 in essence, right? So as the S&P 500 raises and there's buying opportunity there, it looks at the amount of volatility in that market. So S&P 500 falls, VIX goes up. In terms of the normal volatility index, where the one we trade is a fully synthetic instrument with no tiebacks to any other asset class at all. So it's quite fun. It trains, it structures very well, and it's got a very high pip count, which is what we like. So guys, listen, outside of that, we've hit our gold position. We obviously going to continue to monitor the markets. I'm continuing to trade USD ZAR the whole day, probably late into this evening. So obviously, if you want to join me in that, make sure you are a master student. I'll keep sending through my screenshots of my little market structures as and when I buy or sell, that you can obviously take advantage of that with me. Okay, listen guys, this has been Dollars for Lunch, the free public edition. Everybody else, I'll see you in the morning for Pips for Breakfast. We'll look at the markets, we'll look at the morning, as well as make sure you take advantage of that 9 a.m. potential move on USD ZAR, which is the 10 o'clock candle. That's a free nugget, and Masters, I'll be going into exact detail. There's probably about 4 more of those specific turning points that I'll be going through with you, as well as a detailed strategy of how to map up scalp opportunities on USD ZAR. Okay, listen guys, thank you for all the comments and love you guys all. Have yourselves an amazing day. As always, risk management is everything. Trade safe, price action is king. Have yourselves an amazing day, and I'll see you guys all in the morning. All right, shalom.